Okay, good morning. February 22nd, Leviticus 13, 1 through 59. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man has a skin on the skin of his body, a swelling, a scab, a bright spot, and it becomes on the skin like the of his body like a leprous sore, then he shall be brought before Aaron the priest, or one of his sons, the priest. And the priest shall examine the sore on the skin of the body, and the hair on the sore that has turned white, and the sore that appears deeper in the skin of his body. It is a leprous sore. The priest shall examine him and pronounce him unclean. And if the bright spot is white on the skin of his body, and does not appear to be deeper than the skin, and the hair has not turned white, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the sore 7 days. And the priest shall examine him, and on the seventh day, and indeed, if the sore appears as it was, and the sore is not spread on the skin, then the priest shall isolate him another 7 days. And the priest shall examine him again on the seventh day, and indeed, if the sore has faded, and the sore is not yet spread to the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is only a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scab should at all spread over the skin, after it has been seen by the priest for his cleansing, and he shall be seen by a priest again. And if the priest sees that the scab has indeed spread on the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy. When the leprous sore is on a person, then he shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the swelling on the skin is white, and it has turned the hair white, and there's a spot of raw flesh in the swelling, it is an old leprosy on the skin of the body. The priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall isolate him, for he is unclean. And if the leprosy breaks out over the skin, and the leprosy covers the skin of the one who has the sore, from his head to his foot, wherever the priest looks, then the priest shall consider, and indeed the leprosy has covered his body. He shall pronounce him unclean who has the sore. It has turned white, he is clean. But when the raw flesh appears on him, and he shall be unclean. And if the priest shall examine the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean, it is leprosy. Or if the raw flesh changes and turns white again, he shall come to the priest, and the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the sore has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. Who has the sore, he is clean. If the body develops a boil on the skin and is healed, and if the place of the boil there is comes a white swelling or a bright spot, a reddish white, it shall be shown to the priest. And when the priest sees it, it indeed appears to be deeper than the skin, and its hair has turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore which has broken out on the boil. Excuse me. Excuse me. But if the priest examines it, and indeed there is no white hairs in it, and is not deeper than the skin, but is faded, then the priest shall isolate him 7 days, and it shall sp- and if it should spread over the skin, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the bright spot stays in one place and has not spread, it is a scar of the boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or if the body receives a burn on its skin by fire, and the raw flesh of the burn becomes a bright spot, reddish white or white, then the priest shall examine it, and indeed, if the hair has a bright spot, has turned white, and it appears deeper than the skin, it is leprosy broken out on the burn. Therefore, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the priest examines it, and indeed there are no white hairs in the bright spot, and it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall isolate him 7 days. And the priest shall examine him on the seventh day. If it has spread over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the bright spot stays in one place and has not spread on the skin, but has faded, it is a swelling from the burn. The priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is a scar from the burn. If a man or woman has a sore on his head or the beard, then the priest shall examine the sore. And indeed, if it appears deeper than the skin, and there is in it a thin yellow hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a scaly leprosy on the head or beard. But if the priest examines a scaly sore, and indeed it does not appear deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale 7 days. And on the seventh day the priest shall examine the sore, and indeed if the scale has not spread, and there is no yellow hair in it, and the scale does not appear deeper than the skin, he shall shave himself But the scale he shall not shave. And the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale another 7 days. On the seventh day, the priest shall examine the scale, and indeed, if the scale has not spread over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. He shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scale should spread over the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the scale has spread over the skin, the priest shall not seek for yellow hair. He is unclean. But if the scale appears to be at a standstill and there is a black hair grown up in it, the scale has healed. He is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. If a man or woman has a bright spots on the skin of the body, specifically white bright spots, then the priest shall look, and indeed, if the bright spots on the skin of the body are dull white, and the white spot grows on the skin, he is clean. And if the man whose hair has fallen from his head, he is bald, but he is clean. Thank goodness. I'd be in trouble. He who has a hair who has fallen from his forehead, he is bald on the forehead, but he is clean. And if there is one on the bald head or a bald forehead, a reddish white sore, it is leprosy breaking out on the bald head of his bald forehead. Then the priest shall examine it, and indeed, if the swelling of the sore is reddish white on the bald head or has a bald forehead, its appearance is leprosy on the skin of the body. He is a leprous man, he is unclean. The priest shall surely pronounce him unclean, his sore on his head. Now the leper who has a sore is Now the leper on whom the sore is, his clothes shall be torn and his head bare. He shall cover his mustache and cry, unclean, unclean. He shall be unclean. All the days he has the sore, he shall be unclean. He is unclean and shall dwell alone. His dwelling shall be outside the camp. Also, if the garments of a leprous plague in it, whether it is woolen garment or linen garment, whether it is a wrap or a woof of linen or wool, whether in leather or anything made of leather. And if the plague is greenish or reddish, the garment in the leather, whether in the warp or in the woof, or anything made of leather, it is a leprous plague, and shall be shown to the priest. The priest shall examine the plague and isolate that which is a plague for 7 days. And he shall examine the plague on the seventh day. And if the plague is spread in the garment, either in the wrap or the wolf, in the leather or anything made of leather, the plague is an active leprosy and unclean. He shall therefore burn the garment which is in the plague, whether the wolf wrap or the wolf, in the wool or in the linen or anything of the leather, for it is an active leprosy. The garment shall be burned in fire. But if the priest examines it, and indeed the plague is not spread in the garment, either the wrap or the wolf, or anything made of the leather, and the priest shall command that they wash the things in which is in the plague, and he shall isolate another 7 days. Then the priest shall examine the plague after it has been washed, and indeed the plague has not changed its color, though the plague has not spread, it is unclean, and you shall burn it with fire. It continues eating away, whether the damage is with outside or inside. If the priest examines it, and indeed the plague has faded after washing it, then he shall tear out the garment, whether out of the wrap or out of the wolf, out of the leather. But if it appears again in the garment, either in the wrap or the wolf, or in anything made of leather, it is spreading plague. You shall burn it with fire, in which there is a plague. And if you wash the garment, either wrap or wolf, or whatever is made of leather, if the plague has disappeared from it, then it shall be washed a second time, and it shall be clean. This is the law of the leprous plague in the garment of the wool or linen, either the wrap or wolf, or anything made of leather, to pronounce it clean or pronounce it unclean. Um, that was a lot about leprosy. And remember, we just read about how the leprous man came out to Jesus going, Son of David, heal me. Um, Now you can see why it was such a big deal for Jesus to reach out and say, I'm willing, and touched him and made him clean. Because when they're unclean and they're yelling, unclean, unclean, everybody ran from them because nobody wanted the disease. But Jesus had compassion and touched him and made him clean, which now you kind of understand based on all this that it was a big deal in the law, um, for the clean and unclean. And then Jesus also said, now you kind of understand too how Jesus said, don't go tell anybody, but go to the priests and do what you're supposed to do to make yourself, to show them that you're clean, show what Moses said to do. And this is part of what Moses said to do. Okay, Mark 6:1-29. Then he went out from there and came to his own country, and his disciples followed him. And the Sabbath had come, and he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were astonished, saying, "Where did this man get these things? And what wisdom is in which he has given him, that he has such mighty works and performed by his hands? Is this not the carpenter, the son of Mary, and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" So they were offended by him. And Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own country, among his own relatives, and around his own house." Now he could do no mighty works there except that he laid hands on a few sick people and healed them. And he marveled because of their unbelief. Then he went out to the villages in a circuit teaching. And he called the 12 to himself and began to send them out two by two and gave them power over unclean spirits. He commanded them to take nothing for their journey except a staff, no bag, no bread, no copper in their money belts, and but to wear sandals and not to put on two tunics. And he said to them, "In whatever place you enter a house, stay there till you depart from that place. And whoever will not receive you and will not hear you, then depart from there, shake off the dust from your feet as a testimony against them. Assuredly, I say to you, it will be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city." So they went and preached that the people should repent, and they cast out many demons and anointed with oil many who were sick and healed them. Now King Herod heard of him, for his name had become well known, and he said, "John the Baptist is risen from the dead, and therefore these powers are at work in him." Others said, "It is Elijah," and others said, "It's the prophet, or like the one of the prophets." Just so you know, the prophet was in the first five books of the Torah, which Moses had written, and Moses had prophesied that one will come after him, a prophet, and the prophet would be the Son of God. When Herod heard, he said, "This is John whom I beheaded and has risen from the dead." For Herod himself had sent and laid hold of John, bound him in the prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. Because John said to Herod, "It is not lawful you to have your brother's wife." Therefore Herodias held it against him and wanted to kill him, but she could not, for Herod had feared John, knowing that he was a just and holy man, and he protected him. And when he heard him, he did many things and heard him gladly. Then an opportune day came when Herod, on his birthday, gave a feast for the nobles and high officers of the chief men of Galilee. And when Herodias' daughter herself came in and danced, it pleased Herod and those who sat with him. And the king said to the girl, "Ask me whatever you want, and I will give it to you." He also swore to her, "Whatever you ask me, I will give you up to half my kingdom." So she went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask?" And she said, "The head of John the Baptist." Immediately she came in haste to the king and asked, saying, "I want you to give me the head at once, the head of John the Baptist on a platter." And the king was exceedingly sorry, yet because of the oath, and because of those who sat with him, he did not want to refuse her. Immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought. And when and went and beheaded him in prison, brought his head on a platter, and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When the disciples heard of it, they came and took away his corpse and laid it in a tomb. Psalms 39, 1-13. The chief musician to Judah, a psalm of David. I said, "I will guard my ways, lest I sin with my tongue. I will restrain my mouth with a muzzle. While the wicked are before me, I was mute with silence. I held my peace even from good, and my sorrow was stirred up. My heart was hot within me. While I was musing, the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue. Lord, make me to know my end, and what is the measure of my days, that I may know how frail I am. Indeed, I have made my days as handbreadths, and my age is nothing before you. Certainly every man at his best state is but a vapor. Selah. Surely every man walks about like a shadow. Surely they busy themselves in vain. They heap up riches and does not know who will gather them. And now, Lord, what do I wait for? My hope is in you. Deliver me from my transgressions. Do not make me a reproach of the foolish. I was mute, I did not open my mouth, because it was you who did it. Remove your plague from me. I am consumed by the blow of your hand. When with rebukes you correct the man for iniquity, and make his beauty melt away like a moth. Surely every man is a vapor. Selah. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear to my cry. Do not be silent at my tears, for I am a stranger with you, a sojourner as my fathers were. Remove your gaze from me, that I may regain my strength, before I go away and am no more. Proverbs 10:10. He who winks with an eye causes trouble, but a prating fool will fall. All right. We will see y'all tomorrow.